Hi guys, welcome to Wedding Wednesday. My name is Michelle, and on Wednesdays I share with you guys wedding day tips, tricks, and hacks for your big day. And this week we are talking about step 2 on what to do if you are recently engaged, or even if you just started wedding planning. I've named it what to do when you're recently engaged because the season that we're in right now, we're in engagement season, and I wanted to make some video content that was related to um, the season that we're in right now. But if you're watching this later on and it's no longer January, then and you're still just, recently engaged or just really starting wedding planning, this tip can be for you as well. So step 2, well, first I'll go back to step 1. Step 1 was to set your budget. You can go back and watch last week's video. It just simply gave you that step to set your budget. Also, if you go to michellasbrides.com, you can download the budget worksheet, and that will help you find out what percentage you should spend where based off of your total budget for your wedding. So step 2 is to find your venue. So find your venue that is in your price point. Find a couple, find maybe 3 to 4 venues that are in your price point and schedule tours and see what dates they have available. So a lot of times we will pick our date first. We'll pick a date, we'll sit down, we've gotten engaged, and we'll pick our date. And then you're dead set on this date and no one has it available. And then you feel like you have to go back and you have to replan and reconfigure things because now you had this set in your mind and it's just not possible. So before you set a date, find a venue that's in your budget, see which venues that you like the best. I would say find 3 to 4. Pick and say, I could get married either here or here. Or if it's only one that you really like, say, hey, this is the place that I have to get married at. What dates do they have available? Or say, these are the 2 places that I picked out of the 4 that we looked at. And these are the dates they have available. Let's pick from these days. And that will keep you from doing a lot of that backpedaling that we talked about last week. That will keep you from feeling like you're stressed out by the end of your wedding because you spent so much time focused on things that actually could not happen, and then you had to go back to the drawing board. So you felt like you had to go back to the drawing board. And honestly, before the pandemic, I would have said, yeah, go ahead and pick your date. And that might not have been actually the best advice. It actually just makes sense to see what's available first before you have your heart set on something. And not saying that you can't pick a specific date, but you might have to change the year. I would probably say that, and sorry guys, I forgot to mention too. I'm normally in my pretty consultation room, what I call the pre-room. I'm in my sewing room today. This wall is as pretty as it gets. Everything else behind this is a mess. It's just racks and dresses everywhere and sewing equipment. But I have a bustle I'm working on, and I didn't want to stop. When you have that momentum going, I didn't want to stop. But anyways, so I would say now, especially, post 2020, post 2021, dates are just hard to come by. It's just places are booked up, and they're booked up well in advance. So say for instance, I know like this year, January 22nd, 2022 was a very popular date. It still is, it hasn't come up yet. But of course it's booked. It's been booked out, far in advance. But say, you wanted to get married on January 23rd, 2023. If you didn't book that, a year to 2 years in advance, then you likely will not get that date. So if you say, well, I want to get married, on a date like that, then you might have to say, oh, well, we might have to do January 24th, 2024. Or if the 3 is the number that you really are in love with, or you have some type of connection to, then you might just have to pick a different month, and it'll still be the year 23, or it could be the 3rd day of a different month. So leave those options open instead of like setting this hard fast date that you may not be able to get. Have it as an option. Let them know this is a date that we would like, but what do you have available? So just don't have your heart set on something that just maybe can't happen. It'll make it less stressful for you. Or if you're just like, hey, this is my date, then you could do something at a privately owned a home or something like that and get a tent or something like that to, make sure you have that date. But don't get too hung up on stuff like that. That stuff actually, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. But if it matters to you, make it work, but don't make too much work for yourself. Like I said in my first video, last week's video, if you are wedding planning and it's stressful, then you're doing it wrong. So don't cause stress for yourself. It's unnecessary. Y'all know how I feel about weddings. I love weddings, don't get me wrong, but weddings are actually not necessary. So don't make it stressful. Don't make it stressful. It should be fun. You should be enjoying yourself. Your family should be able to enjoy themselves. The bride and the groom, if you guys aren't enjoying yourself, don't do it. Elope, okay? Still get your dress though. All right, guys. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.